Hello and welcome back to Automotive Tales. Today's video is a little bit of a how-to changing a bonnet on an Audi A6 C6 variation. So it's not quite as easy as you might think, but it's also not that difficult when you know how. Couldn't find any good videos on this, so I thought I would capture it for the channel and hopefully this is useful to somebody. If it is useful and you're trying to fix an Audi A6 and change the bonnet, then do bleep bloop in the comments below. It's good for the old algorithm and it's good for the channel. Right, let's get straight to it. I'm going to tell you what tools you need and then how you're going to go about doing it. Okay, so we have the perfect camera angle. You can see everything you're going to need to know for this bonnet change, and you can't see my face. So, tools you're going to need. You are going to need a 13mm either spanner or socket with a wrench like this for removing the bolts, and you're going to need ideally quite a thin flat blade screwdriver for undoing some wiring clips and also taking off the bonnet strut. And if you've got some, these are little poles for threading wiring. They're like electrician's wiring kit. Ideally you want two of these because you're going to need to thread your wiring back into the bonnet once you've changed it, because what you don't want to do is damage or cut this wiring loom. Obviously this one is cut because it's come from a scrap car, but you're going to have to unthread all of this from your bonnet to remove it from the car and then thread a whole new set back in, or the original set back in. So how are you going to go about doing this? Well, first things first, you need to get the washer jets off. So there are two washer jets at the very top of the bonnet here. So you're mounted where the latch for the bonnet is. So what you're looking at here is the very top of the bonnet nearest the windscreen. There are, here's one of them I removed earlier, two washer jets. So these are clipped in at one side and they've got a little spring plasticky clip on there. And if they're not broken, which is quite rare on this age of car, get your thumbs on the little bit where the washer nozzles are and just push it in towards the clip of the bonnet and it should just pop out. And you will note, there are two here, these are sided, so they are left and right. That is left and right as if you were sitting in the vehicle. And make sure you put the right one in the right place, otherwise those little jets are going to point in the wrong place. So, those are dead easy to get out. You can actually see the little clips there that spring and the little ones that don't, that latch in. So they just go straight back in, all the way around, John, like that, and clip straight back in as well. So they're dead easy to remove and dead easy to take and put back in, sorry. So once you've got those out, you will be faced with the tails. Oh, some of them are easier to get out than others. There we go. You'll be faced with the tails of this wiring loom. So you'll have this little green plug here. That is for the heaters in the washer jets. So these have got tiny little heating elements in here that stop them freezing in winter. They come off by using the small screwdriver, so you want to pry this little bit of clip here. You should be able to do it by pushing your fingers on there and bending it, but it might not move so easily. So yeah, a little screwdriver helps pop those out. And then similarly with this, which is the clip for the washer fluid, this little black plastic clip sits around the white housing, and that, when it's removed to this position, pops straight off the back of your wash jet. So this is all plugged in like this, and you want to unplug that, and you want to pop the little bit of black plastic and pop that off. So once you've got both of those undone, you will have the tails for this end and this end hanging out of your bonnet down here, and you need to extract them. So very carefully pushing the ends in on both sides and extracting it from the little grommet hole here. There should be a little foam grommet in here. Mine didn't have one. The breaker car did have one, so I have put it on, but there's not one on this spare bonnet. You want to pull all the wiring out of there, and you'll notice this has got a nice little shape in it because there is actually a little bit of plastic that sits on this hinge, which you will need to remove. This bit of plastic basically guides the wiring around the hinge so it doesn't get caught. Now it is a little tricky. This one that's come from the breaker's yard has been smashed to high heaven, but underneath this bit of plastic there is a tiny little spring clip which sits into part of the hinge, and you can actually see the shape of it here. There's a little bit of a circular recess and there's a bit of plastic that sits in there, and what you need to do is get the small screwdriver in from the top. You'll be able to pick up that little piece of plastic and move it slightly up, and the whole of this bracket will slot up and pop away from the hinge. And there's this little clip here which the wiring loom runs through, so you need to open that up with your fingers, pop the wiring loom out. That comes out of the way, the wiring loom can rest on the scuttle, and then you're ready to start unbolting the bonnet. So that's where your 13mm comes in. Undo the 4 bolts here. Now you've got studs on the bonnet, so it isn't going to drop into your windscreen, but you do want to make sure you keep hold of it. What I did when I did it is unscrew these, so there's still a couple of threads left on each of them just to stop it dropping away. The bonnet is quite light because these are aluminium bonnets, but it still could do damage if it drops. And then you need to get off the little ball joint here, which has the strut that holds the bonnet up. So there's a little metal clasp that goes around the outside of that strut, which I will insert the video of here. This is where your little screwdriver comes in again. You need to get that underneath the clasp and pull that away. It might well spring off, so make sure you don't lose it, because you will need that to make sure the bonnet strut stays in place. And then take that off, pull it to one side. You should be able to pop the ball joint out, and that is effectively your bonnet free. However, it is going to be a 2-person job. While this is a lightweight bonnet, you will need somebody at both sides to lift it away, so these little pointy edges here don't end up going through your windscreen. So, in true instructional style, refitting is the reversal of removal, but it isn't quite that easy. Where you can pull this wiring loom out through this grommet, you might struggle to put it back in. That's where these come in. So what I did is I attached these two together to make one long, slightly flexible but fairly rigid structure. Feed that through the bonnet. So you can see it's coming out the other hole there. Pass it right back until you get to the grommet. It should be somewhere here, it says. There it is. And then pull that out this side. What you then want to do is attach your wiring to this side. A little bit of tape, maybe a cable tie will do the job. And then very carefully, you want to pull that all the way through. And if you attach on the end of the wiring loom here and gently pull it through, making sure to feed this bit of the wiring loom into the grommet, it will, once it comes out here, align this one for you quite nicely. You'll be able to pull this all the way out, disconnect your cable tie or your tape, and you will find you have these hanging out of the holes, and you can get on and refit your left and right washer jets. And then it's simply a case of bolting the new bonnet into place, making sure you put your ball joint back together with the little retaining clip that goes around it for your bonnet strut, and that's it, job done. You will then have the horrible job and fiddly job of adjusting the bonnet to make sure it fits right, and that's entirely up to you. It's a lot of fiddling and, yeah, trial and error. So good luck with that. But that should be everything you need to know to change the bonnet on an Audi A6 C6 variation. And then take the old one for scrap, because it's aluminium, it's worth some money. Don't forget to like, comment, share and subscribe. Thank you for watching.